A lot of times getting access to data for research purposes can be challenging, and we often think of that as the data being locked.
We often don't have access to the data that we need to both ask and answer important questions.
It required IT people to provide the data to the researcher.
An intermediary that often doesn't understand the real needs of the user, or they are just cumbersome and very time-consuming.
If I have to make a query, get my answer back 3 months later, I'm just not going to do that very often.
What we really want is to make the data more available and accessible to those who need to use it.
Making the data a democratic asset rather than one that's very difficult to access.
So having solutions that would allow us to liberate the data in a way, I think would give a big boost for innovation.
When we first learned about MDClone, one of the really exciting opportunities that we recognized early on was the chance to take the considerable amount of data that we were producing on a daily basis and make it available to our researchers, to our decision makers, to our clinicians, and to overcome all the barriers that we often see in terms of privacy and confidentiality concerns.
And it allowed the doctors to access the data and the questions that they want to ask immediately, almost on an immediate basis.
I could rapidly design a query. I could find out information that I needed, and I could get it to the point of care to help someone take better care of a patient.
The beauty of synthetic data is that it allows us to create data sets that look and feel just like that real data that's generated every time we interact with patients, which means we can protect that privacy and confidentiality, while simultaneously we're not removing the types of information that are often lost with alternative methods. And very importantly, synthetic data can be produced in a matter of minutes and mouse clicks. It's a total game changer when we think about how people will ask and answer important questions about the data that we produce in the healthcare environment.
A lot of the existing tools fall a bit short because they were really designed for caring for one patient at a time, but not necessarily to be able to look across a population or be able to analyze data by integrating various sources.
One of the great values of MDClone is that the data is structured in a linear timeline for patients. Every event that occurs in a patient's life can answer some very important questions in a very easy way. And I can use it to be very predictive and to understand the total risk associated with that patient.
What we're interested in is building a smart healthcare system where every single decision that we make is driven by the data that we have in a way that opens up those types of analyses to more and more end users.
I envision that as ending up being a platform with a very large, rich database that people can use for multiple purposes,
which should allow for much better precision care and should ultimately allow for new discoveries that then will allow us to better take care of individuals and populations.
We see MDClone as a critical element for our startup companies, for our strategic partners, for our own innovators and researchers. The ability to run quick queries on the data is critical when you're talking about the pace of innovation.
We think of the MDClone team as an extension of our own capabilities within the Institute. And in many ways, it's almost hard to tell where the MDClone team stops and where our own team starts.
Our implementation process for MDClone has been great. 3 months in, and we have usable data. That is about 5 to 6 times faster than the average implementation. To bring in that kind of volume and richness of data in 3 months is pretty spectacular.
What we're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years is a major improvement in healthcare that is mostly rooted in big data analytics. The more we are able to work on our data, the more advances we'll see in that.
That future of population health management is going to be driven by the democratization of data, and MDClone is at the center of being able to do so.